is going on, everybody? ITA here, and welcome to the newest vid on the channel. August is right around the corner, as I said. Data recording Monday, July 28th. So we are coming at you today with my disclaimer, my personal top 10 games that I am anticipating for August 2025. We have a very exciting list for you today. All I'm going to say is August is looking like a stacked lineup. As always, anything I say, please yell at me in the comments below if you love it, if you agree, if you don't agree, you hate it, whatever it might be. But all right, I've been rambling for far too long here, okay? Without further ado, let's get into the top 10 games that I am anticipating August 2025. Let's do it. Alrighty, up first at number 1, we have House of Dead 2 Remake. This is slated to be released August 7th, and this is going to be coming to your Switch, your PC, on August 7th, and then later on it's going to be getting a PS5 and Xbox release. Now this is the second remake in this series. This is being developed by Megapixel Studios, and it is a remake of Sega's original 1998 version of the game that is titled the same. This is a horror-themed rail shooter. It's a classic arcade style that I really feel like, for me personally, okay, and this is a very personal opinion, it scratches an itch for a certain genre of games that we just don't see on modern consoles unless you're hitting your local arcade, if it even exists in where you live. And arcades are unfortunately, going out of style, so to speak. The game's gonna have full light gun capabilities on PC. Let me make that clear. So if you want to get the whole sort of arcade style, the whole arcade feel of the game, get it on PC. Go on Amazon, eBay, get yourself a light gun, and it will have full light gun capabilities, which is honestly exciting to me. And on Switch, it is going to have gyro controls. As far as content goes, there's going to be co-op modes, multiple endings, levels that branch off to one another. Really the whole 9 yards when you're looking for a good arcade style shooter. The game's going to feature a couple different game modes. We've got something called original mode, which is going to stay faithful to the original game's pacing, story, all of that. And then there's going to be, of course, the very fitting arcade mode. And then lastly, there's going to be something called boss mode. All right, so up next at number 2, we have Kirby and the Forgotten Land plus Star-Crossed World DLC. This is slated to be released August 27th. This is a Nintendo Switch 2 revamp of the original Kirby Forgotten Land. It's going to be exclusive to the Switch 2. It's going to have, all the bells and whistles that you'd expect from, your Nintendo Switch revamping of their games. It's going to have updated visuals and performance that's going to push the game to the industry standard 60 FPS and handheld. Wow, thanks Nintendo. It's going to be really similar to the Breath of the Wild and the Tears of the Kingdom upgrades. Okay, so this will be a paid upgrade for owners of the original as well. Just similar to how the Breath of the Wild, there is no, hey, you get it for free. Now, that's because you're getting DLC. We're going to get into the DLC in a little bit, and hence the reason I'm placing this on the list. Like I said before, this is going to be a paid upgrade for owners of the original. It's also going to be a standalone release, and hold your horses, all right? It's coming in at a beautiful $80 price point. That's right, baby. Kirby and the Forgotten Land plus Star-Crossed World DLC for the Nintendo Switch 2 is coming in at an unfortunate $80 for the standalone. Now, I am not 100,000% certain on the price of the upgrade, but what I have heard online, and it seems like this is what we're running with right now until we really get the official news, and if I am misinformed, let me know in the comments, but that the upgrade for existing Switch 1 users will be $20. This is going to include a brand new story DLC called Starcross World, hence the title. And as far as content, from what we have seen from the DLC so far, it looks like it's going to be more fun in this style of 3D Kirby game that's going to be essentially on par with the rest of Forgotten Land. But it doesn't look like it's reinventing the wheel in any shape or form. But I know I've been bashing it a little bit here since the start of talking about it. But that being said, like I said, it doesn't look like it's reinventing the wheel with the DLC. But it does look like some good content for a good game, and it's a good Nintendo game. And I'm not here to complain about good content, right? So for what I've read online, it looks like the new DLC content is going to be remixed versions of existing base game levels, which I know. This is where it started to trip me up a little bit, and I started to go, huh? They have been revamped to some degree, including the new quote-unquote gimmick of the DLC, or whatever new gameplay feature Nintendo is adding in with the Starcross World DLC. So from what I have read, that enemies have gotten an overall an overhaul within the DLC levels. They have gotten adjustments to their difficulty, and they have also got like physical cosmetic overhauls, so they are going to look different within the DLC itself. All right, coming to us at number 3, we have Particle Hearts. This is hitting all major storefronts on August 25th. This is being released for Nintendo Switch, PS5, Xbox Series X, S, and PC. Particle Hearts is a real interesting one. This is a game that has hit my radar fairly recently. I wasn't aware about Particle Hearts until I would say last week. And when I first initially saw it, I kind of just brushed it off, but I looked into it a little deeper when looking into games this month, and it definitely deserves to be on the list. Particle Hearts is a puzzle platformer coming to us from the minds at Underwater Fire Games. It's being published by First Break Labs. Narratively, it looks extremely cryptic, though, I'm not gonna lie. So I dug deep into this one online. It's a very cryptic narrative, and it's very mysterious, and I from what I've read online, you play as somebody called the main character is called the Drifter, and you are on some cryptic quest to save a loved one. It is a narrative-driven game to a degree. From what I've read, it looks like Particle Hearts is really going to be pushing players to interpret and uncover the meaning of the story like on their own. So it's not a game that's doing really any hand holding in the aspect of story progression. It's like it almost sounds to me like the way a Souls-like will tell a game through. It's probably this is speculation. It's probably going to be told through like NPC interactions, maybe weird, quiet, cryptic cutscenes where you're like, okay, what's going on here, bud? But sometimes that's good, right? Sometimes we don't always need the hand dragging where this is what you're doing, this is what's going on sort of storytelling. Sometimes it's nice, and for me, it's a little bit refreshing to hear that the game's going to say, hey, interpret this, tell me what you think. So I'm excited for that. So what I've saw online, it reports that players, and this is really straight from the source, guys, okay, it reports that players will be able to jump and dash. And then there's also going to be some elements of stealth within the game, but we at the moment have no idea what that is. And just to let you guys know that there is footage from a developer playing a short walkthrough where they show off like the first level of the game, and they give some more details about the gameplay, and you can just visually see more details as he's playing. And the first level is wicked somber, really solemn, kind of quiet, almost dark and eerie. And I'm gonna leave the link to that below of that developer walkthrough for you guys. So if you want to check that out, please go ahead. I do recommend. I watched a good chunk of it. It looks, like I said, man. There's a reason that I'm putting Particle Hearts on the list. It looks very interesting, and it looks very intriguing, to say the least. So that is number 3, Particle Hearts. Alrighty, coming in next up at number 4, we have Shinobi Art of Vengeance. The release date on this bad boy is August 29th, and this is coming to PS5, PS4, Switch 1, Switch 2, Xbox Series X, S, and the Xbox One was listed. As interesting as that is, and I do believe PC as well. So Shinobi Art of Vengeance, this is a fast-paced action platformer, and it's reviving an otherwise dead Sony IP, which is the Shinobi series. Shinobi Art of Vengeance is being published by company Lizard Cube alongside Sega, and I like, just personal opinion here, man, the game, it looks ravishing. I'm wicked excited for this one. It's your classic level-based action platformer, where the trailer, it almost makes it look like a Metroidvania, but I have confirmation that no, this is not a Metroidvania. The developers purposefully made it a point to say this is not a Metroidvania. This is a classic level-based action platformer where you go through level at a time, you know, do badass shit, beat dudes up, this, that, and the other. You complete the level, boom, stops, you go to the next one. So, you know, this is a call to the classic style Shinobi games that made a name for the series way back in the day when they first premiered. This is going to be a really amazing experience in the action platformer genre there, and I say that because of the developers working behind it, man. Like I said before, they seem extremely passionate. I read an article on PlayStation blog that I'm gonna link down below if you guys want to check it out. It is a interview with the developers, and they're, you know, it's just one-on-one with the team of developers. They're super passionate. You can just hear the love that they have for the genre when they're being asked these questions, and that, after reading that, it made me even more excited, you know, looking at the reveal trailer, looking at the gameplay. But yeah, super excited for this one. Once again, that's number 4, Shinobi Art of Vengeance, coming to us August 29th for the PlayStations, the Switches, the Xboxes, and PC. Alrighty, up next at number 5. This is one that myself personally am extremely excited for. Number 5, we have Lost Soul Aside. This is coming to us at the end of August. We are getting this one August 29th, and this is a PS5 exclusive, and it is also coming to PC. Lost Soul Aside is the newest action RPG that is going to be hitting the market this year, man. It's a highly anticipated passion project that I would say that fans and just people who have heard of the game have been literally waiting a decade for his release, and I really pray it's going to be a gem. If everything that they're saying is going to be in the game is going to be in the game, we are in for a possible Game of the Year contender, and I don't say that much, so when I say it, you pay attention, please. We are in for a possible Game of the Year contender, and I really mean that in all aspects of the sense. But, you know, content-wise, in all aspects, I really think that Lost Soul Aside is going to be this action RPG. It's a little, if you look into it, it's a little fluid, okay? It's not really listed whether this is going to be a full-fledged open-world RPG or if this is going to be just a straight linear RPG. But so in my opinion, you want to look at the gameplay, you look at the trailer. I really think that Lost Soul Aside is going to be an action RPG more than just your typical RPG, if you know what I mean. It's got this wicked, and if you're looking at the gameplay here before you can see, it's got this really fluid, it's really stylish combat with a really, and this is where it gets interesting, right? Okay, stay with me. A wicked unique gameplay mechanic where the main character's weapon is a shape-shifting sword that will supposedly adapt to your combat style. Now, this is alleged, right? This is what's being reported. That is a gameplay mechanic. You want to play as a ranged weapon, it will adapt to be a ranged weapon. If you want to play up close and sort of personal, or if you want to play fast, speedy, elegant, that the weapon will adapt to your play style. And it to me, you know, it really seems like the combat is the meat and potatoes of the game. It's going to be a narrative-driven action RPG. It supposedly has a pretty intriguing story. I don't know too much surrounding story-wise, but it's going to be centered around the main character's progression with this companion that you have in the game, is what I've was reading online, which I don't know. In the trailers, the key solo, so I'm a little confused by that. And visually, the game looks really great. It's got some stunning scene work, world development, level development, and like I said before, I don't know if it's entirely open world or if it's going to be more of a DMC style game, but it's got a lot going for it. And by far, this is one of my most anticipated, and there's a reason it's at number 5, and it's not to throw any shade at it, because I think it's going to be awesome with Sony backing it. But I really need to see, right, if it shapes up. I need to see if the promises about a dynamic weapon and all this stuff really shape up. But again, this is number 5, Lost Soul Aside. This is coming to us August 29th for the PS5 and PC. Alrighty, up next at number 6, we have Sword of the Sea. This is coming to us on August 19th, and this is releasing for the PlayStation 5, the PC, and I believe the Xboxes, but please quote me, tell me if I'm wrong in the comments. I believe this is coming to the Xboxes, but PS5, PC, and I believe the Xboxes. Is the newest game developed by Giant Squid, the team who brought us games like Abzu, Journey, the Pathless. So the game's central mechanic revolves around the hover sword, which is this sort of Back to the Future style hoverboard that you as the main character float around and float around on, and that's how you get around the world and all this stuff. Within the game, we're gonna play as something called the Wraith. That is the main character's title. And Sword of Sea is a very environmentally focused game. So the different elements, the different biomes of the game are going to influence how you navigate on your hover sword. It also is shown in the trailer is as well is that that the world and the environment will be pretty interactive with, you know, your surfing, your air surfing here. Like, you're going to be able to jump off certain animals maybe, and you'll be able to use like a jellyfish as like a jump pad and get you maybe over a hump or over a hill or to another jellyfish or whatever it might be. So all in all, Sword of the Sea is by definition, an exploration-based air surfing simulator. The game looks very atmospheric. It's going to be your classic Giant Squid game. Like I said prior, if you have played Abzu, The Pathless, Journey, anything like that, you know what you're getting into here. Visually, the game looks absolutely beautiful. It's got this minimalistic but very visually pleasing, eye candy sort of look to it. The general gameplay loop is going to be similar to other Giant Squid games that we have seen in the past. Us as the player, we're going to be exploring an abandoned and desolate world, and our main goal is to be bringing it back to life as we explore it and we ride around on the hover sword. As you explore, you're going to collect that currency. Like I said, I believe it's going to be called ocean seeds, and you are going to be using these to essentially bring water back to the desert wasteland by interacting with it. And as I was speaking about the environment before, this is a really cool gameplay feature that got me a little very excited about when I heard it. As we bring water back to the desert, it is going to physically change the environment as us, the player in which we are interacting with and playing in. And this is going to provide different and new opportunities for us to then surf and skateboard and snowboard around the environment, because it's physically going to change it as we introduce water in, and it's going to essentially create, you know, like new skate spots for us, so to speak. It does appear there is going to be some combat as well within the game. We're going to battle large creatures called the Leviathans at certain points throughout the story. Now, with everything I could find, I don't think the game is heavily focused around combat in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't really look like that is the main gameplay, loop here, but there is going to be combat, and I do believe that your hover sword doubles as your melee weapon in these combat scenarios. Alrighty, so up next at number 7, we have Echoes of the End. This is going to be hitting major storefronts on August 12th, so we don't have too much longer of a wait on this one. And this is going to be coming to the PS5, the Xbox Series X, S, and of course, PC. So, Echoes of the End is a cinematic third-person action-adventure game that's coming to us from developer Mykirk Games, and it's being published by Deep Silver. Echoes of the End is set in an all-new fantasy world, which is known as Ema or Ema. Tell me if I'm saying that wrong. Which is the game world itself is supposedly heavily inspired by real-life Iceland. The game follows a female protagonist. Her name is Rin, and she has been listed as some sort of magic user within the world that is known as a vestige or a vestige. Interestingly enough, there will be a second central character that apparently will be interwoven into the story, the gameplay mechanics, all that good stuff, and the gameplay loop is going to focus on both sword and magic-based combat alongside with traversal and puzzle solving. On the topic of combat, as I said before, the central loop is going to focus on the sword and magic-based combat. The combat, it looks very interesting, is what I'm going to say. It doesn't look bad, but it looks very weighty, and I can't tell if it's going to be like a slow, sluggish weighty, or if it's gonna be like like a satisfying, kind of haptic feedback weighty, where you hit something and you're like, ooh, that feels pretty good. The combat will supposedly rely heavily on synergizing with this companion that I mentioned earlier, and there's you guys are going to be performing combo attacks and all sorts of stuff like that. Like I said before, man, I'm a sucker for a narrative game, so very, very intrigued with this one. I do want to mention that there is an extended gameplay sort of reveal trailer. It's about 17 minutes long, but I am going to be linking that down below. If you are interested in the game, I do highly recommend you go and watch that, because you really get a great look at how dialogue's going to work. You get to know the character a little bit more. You get to really see a lot of the combat and some of that traversal that was mentioned prior. And so if you're interested in the game, I really highly recommend checking out that gameplay link. I'm going to link it down below. Give it a click. It's on YouTube. You can even look it up if you'd like, because for me it gave me a lot of really great insight.
Dance among the flames.
Alrighty, so next up at number 8 is the highly anticipated Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. That is a bit of a mouthful, but this is releasing to the public on August 28th, and this is coming to the PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series X, S, and PC. This is a faithful remake slash sort of remaster of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, a fan favorite game, of course. So what I'm hearing online and from developers, that this is a pretty faithful remake of the original Metal Gear Solid 3, that they're not touching story, they're not touching the setting, they're not changing anything like that. But what we are getting is some obvious quality of life improvements that we are needing for a game of this age, and clearly, we've got the visual improvements here. But the real interesting piece here that caught my eye is the remake's going to be introducing a new camera angle as well. So the game is going to be able to be played in 2 camera modes. We have something called Classic, which is the overhead camera angle from the original, and there is also going to be a new added camera angle. It's a more modernized third-person, sort of over-the-shoulder, almost God of War style, I guess, camera angle, and it's the classic third-person angle that we've seen in a lot of action games in recent years. So there's also going to be some new fun, I call shits and gigs kind of game modes that are being added to the game. So we have something called Snake vs. Monkey mode, where Solid Snake is going to take on the classic PlayStation characters from the Ape Escape series. You've probably seen these in your travels at one point or another. I read an interview between the developers, and if I can find it, I'll have it linked below. Their main thing here is they didn't want to touch story, is they didn't want to mess the story up, and they didn't want to mess the setting up. So they kept the old fan base in mind a lot when creating this, which I think is never a bad thing. Is they didn't just say, it's an old game, we'll just remake it and it's going to be unrecognizable, but a newer fan base is going to eat it up. No, they really took into account for the original fan base here. Another new feature that the game is getting is that there is going to be a revamped camo changing system. The camouflage system is going to be turned into like a quick menu section, which personally I think I'm good with that. Take the annoying parts and make them more smooth and buttery. That's great right there. Like I said, quality of life stuff, man. Some small stuff can go a real big way, like this camo change here. And currently going are live. If you want to go pre-order it, you can. And the reason I'm plugging pre-orders is I'm not going to say go pre-order the game, but I'm just letting y'all know that is if you pre-order the game digitally, you're going to get early access to the game 48 hours prior to release.
Hell. I'll grind you into dust. What the?
All right, up next at number 9, we have Mafia: The Old Country. This is coming to us August 8th, so we don't have too much more of a wait. And this is coming to the PS5, the Xbox Series XS, and PC. So, this is the newest installment in the Mafia franchise, man, and it looks like an innovative and a highly polished way to return to the classic style of Mafia games. I'm wicked excited for this one. And like I said, this is a return to the classic formula of Mafia games. What I mean by that is this new Mafia game, it's steering away from the more like GTA open world style that they tried in Mafia 3, and it's returning to the semi-open world, not so open world, but free open level design for each mission, which in my opinion is an amazing avenue for this game to take, because that's the Mafia that we all know and love and that we fell in love with. The Mafia games have always been just so cinematic. They're linear, they're story driven games, and they were accentuated, like that cinematic feel was accentuated by its mission, by its slices of open world that the missions feed you as the story progresses, and it just allows the pacing, to be controlled by the narrative. It makes the story so much more impactful and just immersive, encapsulating. And I think with the setting of this game and everything that it has going for it, returning to that classic traditional style of Mafia storytelling is the right move all day long. Mentioning story, It is a prequel. This is taking place in the early 1900s in Sicily, Italy, where we're going to play as someone called Enzo Favara, and it's, you know, your classic kind of mafia tale as he rises through the ranks of the criminal underworld there. The game looks breathtaking, man. The visuals, they look gorgeous. It's all powered by Unreal 5, and the overall, the vibe, man, the characters, the atmosphere, it looks like it just looks like it's gonna be an immaculate game. And if you can't tell, I've got some bias on this one, man. I love the Mafia games, and this one just looks incredible. And the big ticket here, drum roll please, the icing on the cake, is that Mafia the Old Country is retailing for $49.99 USD and will also have physical releases. Hangar 13 is really just uppercutting the market here, man, charging $50 for their next AAA title. I think it's a great move. It's an appreciated move by gamers all alike, by Mafia fans. You can't tell, I'm really hyped for this one. Again, that is number 9, Mafia the Old Country, coming to us August 8th for PS5, Xbox Series X, S, and PC. Stay tuned.
Do we come a man of honor? Repeat these words. I swear my loyalty to this family.
And finally, at number 10, we've got Gears of War Reloaded, baby. This is coming to us August 26th. This is releasing for the PS5, the Xbox Series X, S, and PC as well. This one's a little self-explanatory. I mean, it's Gears of War, but remastered, and it's remastered pretty beautifully, might I add. We've got all the bells and whistles here, baby. 60 FPS during story mode, 1440p, 120 FPS allegedly during multiplayer, HDR support, VVR support, revamped textures, remastered shadows, reflections, high-res assets, and it even boasts that there's no loading screens during the campaign, which is pretty amazing. As well, we're getting cross-platform multiplayer, DLC, and of course DLC is going to be included within the game, and of course, you know, the game's going to be available on PlayStation for the first time ever. You know, this is clearly going to be the definitive way to play Gears. Granted, they don't somehow completely drop the ball, and everything I just listed before you's a lie. I mean, I got faith though. I think they're going to do a great job. Release is going to include all post-launch DLC as well as all the extra content from Gears Ultimate that was released back in 2015 on the Xbox. We're going to get the bonus campaign sequences as well as all the multiplayer maps and game modes and all that stuff. So, and we're getting all the original character cosmetics from the original, as well as split screen co-op for the campaign. A beta ran for this from June 13th to 15th, and a second one on June 20th to the 22nd. Unfortunately, I didn't get to play it, and unfortunately, the reviews were underwhelmingly mixed. Some folks were praising the preservation of the original game, while, you know, saying that it offered an overall smoother experience, and some folks really were complaining about it quite heavily. You know, folks were saying that there's a bleak color palette, that it overall just feels really clunky, but in defense, I mean, I slightly expected it. At the end of the day, it is a remaster of a game. It's not being rebuilt from the ground up, so some of that clunkiness I expected. I mean, we're talking about a 20-year-old game here, 19 years old. The game's been in the cooker an extra 2 months, so I'm hoping that that has allowed devs to smooth out any kinks that, you know, in the beta were a focal point of complaints. At the end of the day, we're getting the game in all its clunky glory for $40 USD. And I mean, that's not bad in today's market by any standards, but $40, who am I to complain? I just praised, you know, Mafia for coming out for 50. So yeah, that is Gears of War Reloaded. That's coming to us August 26th for the PS5, Xbox Series X, S, and PC. So stay tuned.
Not anymore. Things have changed. Welcome back to the Army, soldier.
It's game time, baby!
You think you can still find your way back home, Phoenix?
Alrighty guys, that is it for the video today. If you enjoyed the content that you saw here today, please consider going down below, dropping a like, and subscribing to keep up to date with all the gaming news that we are going to be covering here on the channel. But besides that, I really want to hear from you guys down below. Tell me what you guys think of this month's games that are coming out. What are you most excited for? Are you excited for the Gears of War remake? Are you planning on jumping back into the multiplayer? Are you looking forward to Echoes of the End, Particle Hearts? How are you guys feeling about the Kirby re-release with the $80 standalone drop? Anybody here going to be playing the House of Dead 2 remake? I just want to hear about all of that down below. Let's chat about it. Let's talk about it. Yell at me in the comments if you disagree. But as I said before, guys, that is all for today's video. I appreciate every single one of you for being here and listening to my 30-minute ramble. So like I said, if you could get through that and you like what you saw, please consider dropping a like and a subscribe down below. As always, guys, ITA here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.